I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're examining the bold perspectives behind one of the most powerful political books of our time. The name of the book, Chairman Biden and Dr. Fauci's Monster, Revised Edition. It's written by one of my favorite guests, one of my favorite authors. His name is Ronald Alfred Weitzman, and he takes aim at government overreach, the Democrat Party, abortion, pandemic policies, and the erosion of constitutional freedoms, with topics ranging from COVID-19 origins to inflation to censorship and Marxist ideology. This book is sparking powerful conversations, and it's a book you won't want to miss. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at King Pages Press for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Ron, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Good morning. I don't see myself. Oh, I do at the top of the screen.
Oh, okay. You're there. You're all set. You look great, my friend. This book is powerful. I've got a confession. At one time, I was a Democrat. I liked Bill Clinton back in the 90s. I thought he had some good perspectives. I was young, but I feel completely abandoned by the Democrat Party. And I turned back to being a Republican. I supported Ronald Reagan. First president ever that I voted for was Ronald Reagan, and I loved him. But I didn't like George W. Bush too much, or George H.W. Bush too much. So I went to Clinton, but I went back to the Republicans after that. What's happened to the Democrat Party? I hardly recognize it anymore.
Well, I was a Democrat longer than you. I'm going to be 95 next month, and I was a Democrat till I was 86.
Wow.
I inherited it the way a lot of other people get their party affiliation. They inherit it from their parents.
Exactly.
If you go through adolescence and you survive that, you might still be a member of the same party.
Exactly.
And that's what happened to me. I was a loyal son. I was a loyal Democrat.
Yeah.
And I knew the problems of the party. I mean, I knew them, but every party, I thought had problems. I thought the Republican Party had problems. And well, what happened was, to me, my wife is a Republican all her life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I told you the story. When Hannity came on with Alan Colmes on television on Fox Channel, we watched that, the Democrat and the Republican. So we were the same. When Colmes left in 2009, I left too. And I didn't come back until Hillary ran for president, and I couldn't vote for her. I thought she was a liar. I thought she was a pathological liar. I mean, I'm a psychologist. I'll use that word. That's what I thought. And she could lie right to your face about, usually self-aggrandizement type of lie. But straight lie, I mean, an obvious lie. She'd do it. It had no qualms about it. And then when she developed her basket of deplorables, I thought, boy, I could be a charter member of that group. And I'm not a Tea Party member. I was a Democrat, but I decided that I could no longer vote. I could not vote for her. And I was really doubtful about being a Democrat. So my wife suggested we watch Hannity again. And I started doing that. So and I thought that, well, Trump, I was upset with Trump with his and his program with you're fired.
Yeah, The Apprentice.
To his guests, I would have chosen another person. So I was a little upset with him. Not serious.
Yeah.
I thought, well, at least he doesn't depend on other people's money. He's not going to be bought.
True.
So that was my rationalization, and I voted for him in 2016. And then when I saw he started doing everything that he said he was going to do, I got to like him. Yeah. I knew all his faults. I knew all that way for years before that. But they were inconsequential compared to what we were getting from him as a president.
Mhm.
And I got to thinking, then when Biden ran against him in 2020,
Mhm.
um, I thought there's there's no comparison. Yet our
Yeah.
country seemed to go the wrong way, different from what I thought it was going to do.
Yeah.
And I started looking at the reasons why, and I developed my thinking about it, and I reflected those thoughts in the book.
Yeah.
My major concern is now the Democratic Party, because I think we need a two-party system, and I think their big problem is they are the party that's seeking a single party. They're trying to be the only party by taking in two new states that would work, would probably be Democratic for years.
Mhm.
Puerto Rico and Washington D.C.
Yeah.
So they're heading that way, and I think there's been a big misconception that they've been promoting, that fascism is on the right, and of course the Republican Party is on the right. One is really, and historically, as I say in the book, on the left. Mao was on the left. Lenin was on the left. Stalin was on the left. Hitler was on the left. National Socialist Party. Castro's on the left. There's no doubt about it. And so, and they're veering to the left with seeking a one party rule. That is fascism.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned that the Democratic Party has so weakened itself now. I was so happy that Trump won, but he clobbered the Democratic Party, and it's reacting childishly. In the first place, Biden was not mature. I mean, I don't know if he got past adolescence in his emotional development.
Yeah.
I mean, only thing that he could think of doing was the opposite of what the Republicans were doing. And that's what he did. Everything was just the opposite. So Trump's got to turn it all around now. That's a big challenge.
Yeah.
And Biden did not leave us in the best shape worldwide and nationally. So Trump has a big job ahead of him, and he's handling it, I think, quite well. But what I'm more concerned about is the Democratic Party, because the Republicans may be the single party, but even they, I think, really like some competition, because this is very important to me. And I do say it in the book, and it's about competition. It's almost a cliche to say that under Biden, the Democrats were seeking equity of outcome, and the Republicans are seeking equality of opportunity. But that's not the whole story. The Democrats are seeking equity of outcome with the outcome assured by the government. They didn't want to take any chances. That's why they wanted one party rule.
Yeah.
Whereas the Republicans were seeking equality of opportunity, with competition being the vehicle to their success. And they believed if they did the right thing, they might not always win, like a sports team, which is a good metaphor for the Republican view of government. They'd eventually, they triumph. But the Democrats, wanting to assure their victory, are willing to let the end justify the means, and they've done that terribly. And now they've got to the point where they don't have an agenda. They regressed. They not only are they adolescent, doing the opposite of what the Republicans are doing. They're we call in psychology, they're acting out like eighth graders. They're using called names. I mean, there's childish behavior. It's certainly mature behavior, and it's dangerous behavior.
Yeah, and they're actually encouraging violence. I mean, we've got people now setting Teslas on fire to protest Elon Musk, and it's being cheered by Tim Walz up in Minnesota, and other lawmakers around the country, and they're encouraging lawlessness.
Well, it's not only immature and almost insane. It's the point of insanity. It's not only immature. It's It's unwise. It's almost mentally,
Yeah.
as I said, it borders on insanity. There's no way that they could have a positive outcome.
Yeah, yeah. And the
Uh,
whole idea of confronting lawmakers for people to protest in the face of J.D. Vance when he's vacationing with his family in Vermont, the idea that this type of behavior is encouraged by the Democrat Party, I think is crazy. And I do agree with you. We do need two strong parties, like you and I. We went back and forth. Sometimes we voted Democrat, sometimes Republican. And now they're completely polarized and rarely work together.
yes, it may not be the Democratic Party if they don't get their act together. They've got to grow up.
Yeah,
It's immature.
agreed.
They're not mature. I mean, I'm not talking about Marxism or that sort of thing. They've gone down the wrong road and they don't know what to do about it.
Exactly. Ron, one of your issues in the book that you talk about is abortion, which of course is a hot topic. Talk
Mm.
to us a little bit about your views on abortion, how it could be eliminated or limited or regulated a little bit more.
That's another thing I could say to the Democrats. My book is not all on one side or the other. Abortion is an issue that they could appreciate my view on.
Mhm.
Um, it's not their view of abortion, but it's a view that is very much consistent with theirs. Jews uh, uh, do, Jewish religion has no prohibition of abortion.
Mhm.
And Jews believe that a fetus doesn't become alive until it takes its first breath. And that comes from Genesis 2:7, where God said he formed man from the dust of the ground and breathing the breath of air into his nostrils, created a living being. And that's straight from the Bible. And that's Jewish law. So the Jewish religion has no prohibition against abortion at any time during pregnancy because they don't believe the child's alive, fetus is alive till it takes its first breath. Okay, so when the Supreme Court declared that the Congress could not regulate abortion, and that quoting from the 10th Amendment, that if it's not prohibited to the states would have that right to do it. But it is prohibited to the states because in the First Amendment, the First Amendment, the very first part of the First Amendment says Congress uh, shall not interfere with the free exercise of religion.
Mhm.
Well, and by letting a state prohibit abortion uh, during any time during pregnancy, it's interfering with the free exercise of religion by Jews.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so the Jew, it hasn't come to the Supreme Court yet, but a Jewish woman who's pregnant in a state like Alabama or Georgia, where the restrictions are strong against abortion, or her physician, if he's a Jewish physician, should start litigation to get it to the Supreme Court because it has to reconsider it.
Mhm.
I think it's plainly clear in the Constitution that there's the supremacy clause. If Congress cannot regulate abortion, according to the supremacy clause, neither could any state, and that's clause of this. I think it's the Section 6 of the Constitution. The second clause is the supremacy clause. That what Congress can't do, the state. If Congress can't regulate speech, neither can free speech, neither can a state. And it's the same thing with religion.
Yeah.
So it's a backdoor way for the Democrats to get their position on abortion, but it is their position. But they wouldn't take it because it's not their way, and they have all this problem with them as anti-Semitism. So they might resist it. But
Amazing.
it's
We're almost out of time, but I have to ask you, it's gone very, very quickly because you're such an engaging guest.
yes.
But anti-Semitism alive and well again and thriving on college campuses, it's so disturbing. The Democrat Party seems to have no problem with it. They're defending the agitators. What on earth is going on?
That was my phone. I just took the receiver off the hook.
That's funny.
What's going on? That was interesting. That's really hard to know. I, was there some latent anti-Semitism in the Democratic Party that emerged all of a sudden? I don't know. It's hard to understand where it came from. Most of the Jews who came here as immigrants became Democrats.
Yeah,
because it was the party that helped them.
and the leader of the Democrat Party is Charles Schumer. He's Jewish. Why isn't he speaking out more? It seems like they've made a division between Judaism, being Jewish ethnically, and what they consider Zionism. And
there's something like that. I think the Jews have almost led the I hate to say this, being a Jew, almost led the tendency, the trend toward atheism, or at least agnosticism. My younger brother, who's dead now, was an agnostic, really an atheist. My parents were atheists.
Yeah.
So there's a propensity among Jews, if they look at the other outside culture, to sort of hate themselves because they're not the majority group.
Right.
It's a horrible way to resolve it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very troubling time. I'm glad President Trump is taking action. He's defunding the universities. He's deporting some of the agitators. So I think
he's incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do not agree with George Will about Donald Trump. George Will, I guess he's not polite enough and doesn't use correct grammar or something.
Exactly. I think even J.D. Vance didn't like Donald Trump at first. I think Donald Trump appeals to the common person. I think he's a very practical person. I don't think he's always conservative. I think he's populist. And I do think that he's a man of his word. If he says it, he's going to get it done. He's getting things done at record rates right now. And I think I'm thrilled about it. I know you are. And I think most of America really is. I think we hear the news is so distorted. You would think that most of America is against him and that chaos reigns in Washington, but nothing could be farther from the truth.
Okay, if you ask me for one thing, I would say to the Democratic Party, get your act together.
That's it. Get your act together. We will leave you on that. The name of the book is Chairman Biden and Dr. Fauci's Monster, Revised Edition. It's written by a terrific author, one of my favorite guests, Ronald Alfred Weitzman. Ron, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me again. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Always welcomed on the show. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.